You hear about AI everywhere, right? It's full of all these crazy, complex terms. But what if I told you that you could understand it all by building your own AI right here, right now, from the ground up? Well, that's exactly what we're about to do. Let's get into it. Look, if you've ever heard terms like RAG, agents, or LLMs and felt your head start to spin, you are definitely not alone. This space moves so fast, it's almost impossible to keep up with all the jargon. But here's the good news. We're gonna cut right through all that noise. Because underneath it all, most of modern AI is built from the same handful of core ideas. And to make it all quick, we're gonna use a simple analogy. Over the next few minutes, we are going to build our very own AI assistant, step by step. Alright, section 1, building the AI brain. Every great assistant needs a brain, right? So that's where we're gonna start, with the core intelligence that powers the whole thing. And what is that brain? Well, it's something called a large language model, or what everyone calls an LLM. This is the engine of our assistant. It's basically a massive computer network that's been trained on a gigantic amount of text from the internet, and its main job, believe it or not, is shockingly simple. It just predicts the next most likely word in a sentence. So how does a computer brain actually read and understand what you're saying? It's a two-step process. First, there's tokenization. It breaks your sentence down into smaller chunks, kind of like Lego bricks. Then comes vectorization. Each of those little bricks, or tokens, gets turned into a set of numbers, a coordinate on a giant map of meaning. That's how it turns our words into math it can actually work with. Okay, our assistant officially has a brain. So now we move on to section 2, talking to your AI. We need to learn its language. This skill is called prompt engineering, and honestly, it's the key to getting great results out of any AI. And it really comes down to a simple truth. Vague prompts get you vague answers. It's garbage in, garbage out. If you just say, write about productivity, you'll get something boring and generic. But if you get specific, if you give it context and constraints, like in the second example, you may get something that's actually useful. Now, there are a couple of main ways you can do this. The first is called zero-shot prompting. It's probably what you do already. You just ask a direct question. But the real pro move is few-shot prompting. This is where you give the AI an example or two of what you want. It's like saying, hey, make it look like this, and that helps it nail the style and format you're looking for. But what about really complex problems like math or coding? For that, there's an awesome technique called chain of thought prompting. You literally just tell the AI to think step by step. That simple phrase forces it to slow down and work through the problem logically, and it makes a huge difference in getting the right answer for those tougher tasks. Alright, so our assistant can think and we know how to talk to it. Time for section 3, upgrading your AI. Let's make this thing even smarter and, just as important, more trustworthy. It's time for some serious upgrades. First up is fine-tuning. The best way to think about this is like sending your assistant to a specialized school. You take a general model that knows a little bit about everything, and you train it more on a very specific topic. You want to make it a legal expert, you feed it tons of legal documents. A medical expert, same deal but with medical textbooks. It becomes a specialist. But there's a problem. An LLM's knowledge is frozen in time. It doesn't know anything that happened after it was trained. So how do you fix that? You use something called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG. This is like giving your assistant a library card, or maybe a super-powered internet connection, so it can access fresh, up-to-the-minute information. And how RAG works is actually pretty clever and simple. When you ask a question, the system first does a quick search in its own private knowledge base for relevant facts. Then, it literally stuffs that new info into your prompt before sending it to the main AI brain. The result? You get an answer that's grounded in current, factual evidence, not old data. So, our assistant is smart, it's up to date, but is it actually helpful? Is it safe to use? That's where this mouthful comes in, reinforcement learning from human feedback. Basically, it's a training method where real people rate the AI's answers. They give a thumbs up to good ones and a thumbs down to bad ones. This feedback teaches the model to be more helpful and aligned with what we actually want. Okay, so far our assistant has been an amazing source of information, but now what it's searching for, putting AI to work. This is where we stop just asking questions and start taking action. This is where we give our assistant hands and feet to get things done. And this brings us to the really exciting part, AI agents. An agent is an AI that doesn't just passively answer you, it acts. You can give it a high-level goal, like plan a weekend trip to Giraldo for me, and it will go off on its own, reason, plan, and use digital tools like websites and apps to actually achieve that goal. So how do these agents pull this off? They work in a continuous loop. First, they perceive the situation, then they reason and create a plan. After that, they act on that plan by using their tools, and finally, they observe the results of their action and start the whole loop over again. It's this simple cycle that lets them tackle really complex tasks all by themselves. And that's it. That's the final piece. Our AI assistant is complete. In just the last few minutes, we've walked through the entire blueprint for how a modern AI system is built. Think about it. We started with the basic brain, the LLM. We learned how to talk to it effectively with prompting. We gave it some major upgrades with fine-tuning and RAG, and we landed with human feedback. And finally, we gave it the power to take action as an autonomous agent. So all these concepts, LLMs, RAG, agents, they're not just random buzzwords anymore, are they? They're the fundamental building blocks of the AI tools you see and use every single day. They're a blueprint. And now that you have that blueprint, the only question left is, what are you going to do with it?
If you learned something new in this video, please do drop a like and follow for more tech content and educational videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.